Today's leadership lessons learned, is about telling versus persuading. And recently I've been working with someone in charge who has a habit of telling people that's his fallback. He's got a lot of experience. He often works with people who are inexperienced, and he tells to the point where his intentions are good. He's trying to tell them what works, what he's learned over 30 years, but his method of doing it is to do it really fast, tell people to do this without the actual reason behind it or the end goal, and it ends up being, you can see people are doing their jobs, trying to do it the way he says to do it, but whenever there's, say, a questionable point or somewhere where they've got to use their initiative, they don't know what exactly to do because they haven't been told the big picture and they don't know where it's going to end up. And also motivation isn't always high because they're being told exactly what to do every step of the way. And as human beings, if you think to when you've been told do this repeatedly, how good do you feel about doing it and getting it achieved? Are you doing it because you've been told to do it, or are you doing it because you really want to do it? In a lot of those cases where people are being told exactly what to do every step of the way, they just end up doing over the longer term the bare minimum they have to do because they're being told, because they're not being able to use their initiative. Their motivation is lower because they're just being told rather than being self-driven and given the opportunity to make decisions and make it happen themselves. So that's what I've seen quite a bit with people being told. I know for myself, if I'm told, micromanaged, told what to do all the way, I'll get stuck into it and I'll do it to the best of my ability, but there's definitely a part of me that wants to kick back and say, hey, can you tell me a bit more, or do I need to know the mission where I'm trying to get to so I can make decisions and make it as efficient as possible and get you the best result. But a little bit of human nature, a little bit of pushback with the telling side of it. Now persuading, so I look at the coaching people with the tactical response skills and bringing new recruits through and things like that, or even training more experienced operators. Using persuasion was always a great way of getting people involved, getting people motivated, getting the brain moving and people thinking, because it's a real thinking game, not just running through houses with guns. There's so many variables. Bad guys do different things. There's every layout is different, and there's a lot of safety issues. So there's a lot of thinking going on. So the persuasion that I would use is, if we're doing training or even debriefing jobs or whatever, is might even start with the guys know to a point what they're doing. So I'll ask them, tell me what happened here. Quite often when I was instructing, you're at the bat, you can see what happened and you can actually see what people are thinking, because you've been there yourself. They've turned left instead of turned right, they've seen something and they've skipped something. So you know the answers to a lot of things, but if I was just to tell them this is what you did, this is what you did, they'd take some of it on board and wouldn't be that interested. But the persuasion side of it, using more of an approach like, tell me what happened in this room, and getting their story. And then when I say persuasion, as much as coaching, persuasion is asking those questions to get to the answer, rather than opening an open-ended question like, tell me what went wrong, or tell me what went right, or tell me the story of this room. I don't want a wide open story. I want, tell me what happened in this area here, or this part here. And then if I need to get them more to the point, it might be, so how did that work out? What could you have done better in this section? I can point them to the area that I'm talking about. And if need be, maybe what would have happened if you tried this method, just to get them thinking about it. At the end of the day, if someone's bringing me a plan, and I'll give them the, say, tactical response group a situation of, this is what we're dealing with, this is the mission, this is what we're trying to achieve, whether it's rescue the hostages or safely apprehend the bad guy, whatever it may be. Come up with a plan. They come back to me with a plan. I'll give them some parameters, a few parameters that they've got to stick within, but they come back to me with a plan. I can ask them, how did you come to this? What made you think of this? If I can see a better option, I might say, or I might throw some risks at them. What happens if this happens? If you use the method that you put here, what happens if the bad guy does this, or this changes, or the car leaves before we get there, things like that, to get them thinking about maybe a better solution. Now, if there's, and Jocko Willink does this well in Extreme Ownership, he talks about if they have a plan that's 49% as good as You know, it's half as good as the plan that I might have, or my plan. I might think my plan's 60% better and theirs is 40% better. If their plan's going to work, I still might go with that plan. It still might be worth going with their plan so that they've got the chance to execute their own plan. I'm not telling them what to do. Make sure it's going to work on the day, of course, and there'll be lessons learned from that plan, as long as you know, there's no safety issues and it's still going to work out and we're still going to get the bad guy. Then the benefits of them being able to come up with their own plan, execute their own plan, even though it may not be perfect, they'll learn from that and be much better for it, rather than me telling them. So hopefully that explains some of what I'm talking about. But telling versus persuading, to me, telling is, you know, black and white. This is how you do it, this is how you do it, and you'll get some work out of people short term, but long term you'll lose the motivation, you'll lose the drive, and people will just stop thinking for themselves. Persuasion or coaching, you're getting people to think, you're getting people motivated because they're coming up with their own ideas, and you know, you'll get a lot more work and a lot more happier workplace for it. So take it as you will. That's the thought for the day. I'm going to keep running around this lovely island, and I'll see you later.